When I was a young child, life felt like an endless battle. My name is Daniel. My parents passed away when I was only 5 years old. I had no siblings, no family to comfort me. Each morning, I woke up starving. My clothes were tattered and thin, and my shoes were falling apart. In the summer, the scorching ground burned my feet, and in winter, the icy wind made my toes numb. I didn't go to school, even though I dreamed of learning. Instead, I worked. I sold newspapers, small trinkets, and whatever else people might buy. Some people dropped a coin or two into my trembling hands. Most, though, hurried past without a second glance, their eyes sliding over me as if I weren't even there. The streets of Willowbrook were alive with noise and movement, merchants shouting, carriages rumbling, but to me it all felt distant, like a world I didn't belong to. No one ever stopped to ask if I was all right, if I needed food, or even just a kind word. Sometimes I'd retreat to a quiet alley, curl up, and let the tears come. I'd ask the empty streets, why is life so cruel? Why doesn't anyone care about me? But tears didn't change my hunger or warm my frozen fingers. The next day would still come, and I would still be alone, fighting to make it through. One bitter winter night, I found a narrow alley near a bakery. The smell of freshly baked bread teased my empty stomach, making the ache even worse. I curled into myself, hugging my knees tightly to keep what little warmth I had left. My hands trembled, my breath came out in icy puffs, and my body felt hollow from hunger. Above me, the stars shimmered, distant and cold. I stared at them and whispered, "Do you see me? Do you know how alone I am?" The nights were always the hardest. During the day, the bustling streets gave me a sliver of distraction people, voices, movement. But at night, the world felt vast and empty. The wind cried through the streets, echoing the loneliness in my heart and making me feel smaller than ever. One night, a man walked past me. He wore a heavy wool coat and carried a weathered briefcase. He paused, his eyes lingering on me for a moment. My heart leapt with hope maybe he would offer kindness. Instead, his face twisted into a frown. "Get out of here, boy. This isn't a place for you," he muttered harshly. His words sliced through me, colder than the biting wind. Sometimes, kind souls would offer me food. One memory that stayed with me was of an elderly woman with snow-white hair and gentle, kind eyes. She approached me one chilly afternoon and handed me a warm roll of bread, her voice soft and soothing. "Take this, dear. You need it more than I do," she said with a sad smile. I murmured a quiet thank you, though my throat tightened with emotion. That bread felt like the first real meal I'd had in ages, warm, comforting, and filled with a rare sense of kindness. I also found an unexpected friend, a scruffy, wiry dog that seemed just as lost as I was. He had patchy fur and bright, hopeful eyes that never left me He followed me faithfully, and I shared whatever scraps I could spare. I named him Jasper. He was my shadow, my only source of comfort. One chilly afternoon, while rummaging through a pile of discarded junk, I discovered a wooden toy, a little horse with a chipped ear and one leg missing. It was worn and broken, but I saw something special in it. I cleaned it up and carried it everywhere, tucked safely in my pocket. It became my greatest treasure. When the weight of my loneliness felt too heavy to bear, I'd hold it tightly and close my eyes. I'd imagine Jasper and me riding far away, galloping to a land where the sun was warm, food was plentiful, and people were kind. Each morning I rose before the sun and made my way to the bustling market square. I offered to carry heavy sacks of flour, crates of apples, or baskets filled with goods for anyone willing to spare a coin. Some kind souls rewarded me with a few pennies, while others barely acknowledged my existence. I tucked away every bit of money I earned, dreaming of the day I could afford a thick, warm coat and sturdy shoes that didn't let the cold seep in. No matter how tirelessly I worked, though, the ache of hunger, the bitter chill, and the hollow loneliness clung to me like shadows always present, never easing. One rainy evening, Rusty and I huddled under an awning near the marketplace. My clothes were soaked, clinging to my skin like a second, colder layer. My body trembled with each gust of wind. I watched a boy in a bright yellow coat, walking with his mother, his laughter ringing through the rain like a distant melody. He clutched her hand tightly, his face glowing with joy. His laughter pulled at something deep inside me, stirring memories of my own mother's warm smile and gentle voice, the way she used to hum softly while tucking me in at night. But those days were nothing more than shadows now. She was gone. I didn't even know where my father was. The world felt vast and indifferent, and I was just a forgotten child lost in the storm. One day, a bakery owner caught me staring through his window. I wasn't stealing. I was just so hungry. "Get lost, boy," he barked. His words stung, but I walked away without a word. I was used to it. At night, I stared at the vast expanse of stars, their distant glow flickering like tiny, unreachable beacons. They felt so far away, so untouchable, yet I couldn't help but believe they were listening. I whispered my dreams to them, my voice trembling with hope. "Please give me a chance," I begged, my breath misting the cold air. But the stars remained silent, their light unwavering and indifferent, as if the universe itself had no answers to give. One morning, I found a torn blanket in the alley, its fabric reeking of damp and decay. Despite the stench, it was a small mercy against the biting cold. I wrapped it around myself, the rough material scratching my skin but offering a sliver of warmth. Life felt relentless and unforgiving, Yet I clung to the fragile hope that one day things might change. I told myself to endure, to survive. But deep inside, exhaustion gnawed at me. My heart ached with a heaviness that words couldn't express, and my dreams, once vibrant and full of promise, now felt like distant, unreachable stars. One freezing night, Rusty and I curled up under a shop awning. Snow fell quietly around us. My hands were red and raw. My feet were numb. I didn't have shoes anymore, just thin sandals. Rusty whimpered, shivering against me. I held him close, giving him what little warmth I had left. That night I dreamed of my mother. She stood beneath a glowing moon, her smile radiant and her arms open wide. "Come to me, Eli," she called softly, her voice like a distant melody. I ran to her, my heart soaring with hope. But just as I reached her, she faded into mist, leaving me grasping at empty air. I woke up with tears streaming down my face, the echo of her voice lingering in my heart. The next morning, a woman stopped in front of me. She had a kind smile and warm eyes. "Are you all right?" she asked gently. I wanted to tell her everything, the hunger, the cold, the loneliness, but I didn't know how. Instead, I shook my head. She gave me a blanket and a loaf of bread. "Take care of yourself, sweetheart," she said, then walked away. Her kindness reminded me of my mother. For a moment, I didn't feel so alone. One evening, the rain poured heavily. Rusty and I huddled together under a small roof. The streets were empty. I held Rusty close. "We'll get through this," I whispered. "Just hold on." Suddenly, I heard footsteps. A young man with a green coat and an umbrella stood in front of me. "Are you okay?" he asked. His voice was kind. He noticed Rusty. "He's a loyal friend," he said with a smile. I nodded. "He's all I have." The man crouched beside me. "I used to be like you," he said softly. "Homeless, alone. Someone helped me once. Now I want to help you." He handed me a small card. "There's a shelter nearby. They can give you food, a warm bed. You don't have to be alone anymore." I held the card tightly, my heart pounding with hope. As the man walked away, I looked at Rusty and smiled. "Maybe things can change," I whispered. The rain kept falling, but it didn't feel so cold anymore. I stood up, clutching the card. For the first time in years, I took a step towards something new. Rusty wagged his tail and followed me. Together, we left the dark streets behind, chasing a brighter tomorrow.